Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back. Welcome back to my channel, the Cheryl Hubbard Show. Glad you could be here. Glad to see you. Glad you could join me. So today, I just want to do a little demonstration of, how I make my body butters. And this is what goes in it. We have shea butter, mango butter, cocoa butter, castor oil, vitamin E oil, and jojoba oil. And all of these oils in this body butter will make, will make your skin soft. Basically, it's, the oils that I picked and the shea butter, the mango butter, and the cocoa butter. I picked, these particular ingredients because they, moisturize your skin, soften your skin, and it makes your skin healthy. So this is unrefined shea butter. And then I have raw mango butter. And then I have cocoa butter. So this is pure cocoa butter, 100% fresh. So I put it all the way up to the camera. You can see 100% fresh. And then the oils I do have, what I will be adding some black castor oil and some regular castor oil, 100% pure castor oil made from beans. And then I have vitamin E and some, they call it jojoba oils. As you can see, it's 100% pure jojoba oil. So I don't know why they spell it like that, but you know how the English language is. It's kind of tricky. But those are the ingredients. And also I have my gloves. I always have gloves. So, but what I want to do first, I always do have my gloves. So let me, just pull out one pack. So just pull out, I'll pull out two. And then also I have my bowls. So I have my bowls and my gloves. So I count them as part of my ingredients, and also my jar when I will be filling my. And then this is my spoon and my knife, and I also have my. I always like to wear these eye protectors, and this is my hand sanitizer. Like I said before, my son's fiance, she makes these hand sanitizers. So just roll it up. And I have on my lips today some lip gloss that I made. Color. Let me see the color that I have. This is the color that I have on. So I do, make lip glosses too. Different colors I do make. So I do make those, and also, some purple ones. But I will be making more. These just my sample colors that I'll get into later on. So like I said, this is the color that I have on, kind of like a rust. So I do have this on. These are just the ones that I'll be using, but I'll make, I have to determine whether or not I want to, put these on my, you know, if I want to market these. Love this color. Love this color. So let me get started. Okay. Sometimes my hair gets in my ear, so let me put a little more hand sanitizer on. Got my eye protectors on. And I already washed my hands, so, and then I always need these to protect your eyes, and then you got your gloves. Always want to put on your gloves, and like something with hair in your ear. So, gloves, eye protectors. So these are my bowls, you know. I only need one. So, okay, we're gonna start out with we can start out with our let's start out with our shea butter. Start out with our shea butter. So it sounds like and then you can always read tell you you know what it is, what shea butter is good for. Basically it's good, it's real good for, you know, moisturizing the skin, softening the skin. And also it comes like in a little plastic. Coming in plastic like this, but I used some before, so. And then what I do, depends on how much you want to make, you know. So the recipe probably will call for probably like, not half, but probably like, maybe like a third. Yeah, so 1/3 of this would be, you know, like, cause I'm filling a big jar, so I'm gonna like this. So, you know, put it in there like that. So 1/3 of this. So 1/3 of that would be like a piece like that, because I want to fill this big jar that I have. Then I'll put that back in there. So that is the shea butter. And then what kind of gloves? You know, I'm gonna change these gloves. I don't want to mess my package. So I had, you know, when I ordered these gloves, it was 400. It was 400 pieces, so that was like just 200 sets. But I used a whole lot since then. And I have about 3 or 4 pair of these eye protector glasses, you know. They almost fit in with your, you know, your personality. I like these. I have about 4 pairs. So, okay, here we go with the raw mango butter. So that's what the ingredient calls for. So all the butters would be melted down. And then add the oil. So this is raw mango butter. So raw mango butter. And like I said, probably 1/3 of that would be probably about like right here. Right here. 1/3 would be about right here. So I always make sure I have these eye protectors on, because, you know, when you're pulling and tugging on this plastic and different things, you know, different things when it comes to this, you know, dealing with your solid. These are, I guess I would call my solid ingredients. Even your oils, you know, you want to protect your eyes, because you don't know if anything gonna splash. So I always make sure I have these on. So, and the body butter, it is so soft, smooth and soft when you put it on your body. It smells so good. And also, if you want to, you could use some essential oils too, but I didn't put any essential oils in this recipe. But you can also, if you want to, add some essential oils. I can add some essential oils too as well. So, a lot of those essential oils will give you a good smell, you know. Oh, I cracked the bowl, but so I got a couple other bowls here, so that's like about, I think about a third off of there. So that's what I have left. So I'll put that in. So I'll put that on. And then I have, this is a 100% cocoa butter that I'll be adding next. And then I'll put the oils in. So, and I don't use cocoa butter I don't put cocoa butter in my, you know, my hair care and my hair care line. So I don't have a skin care line. And this cocoa butter sure is getting hard. It got hard. But it's going to melt down. So it's like a block of cocoa butter. And smells just like that cocoa butter. So that should be all I need. Put a little cocoa butter in there. Cocoa butter is definitely good for your skin. Because, you know, they use cocoa butter for blemishes and dark spots, blemishes, stretch marks. So I do want to add a stretch mark cream to my product line later, you know. So that's the cocoa butter that I just added. So then I'll melt these down, but before I melt them down, okay, we have jojoba oil. I do have my castor oil, 100% castor oil. So I can use a little bit. Both of these are castor oil, so this is black castor oil, Jamaican black castor oil. So Jamaican black castor oil. And yes, I'll say both of these oils, both of these castor oils are good. Then we also have our vitamin E. So what we want to do is probably add, let's see, the recipe calls for, I probably would do about, maybe about 4 drops of each. Maybe about 3 drops of each. I'll put the top back on so too much won't come out. So push it down. And this is castor oil, 100% castor oil. See how I say what it says for skincare. So I'll put in here 1, 2, 3. So that's castor oil. And then I have this jojoba oil, 100% jojoba oil. So what I want to do, 3, and then I'll have black castor oil. And this right here is a thing that they put on it, so you know I had to take that off. I'll put the top back on, and I'll go 1, 2, 3. This is Jamaican black castor oil, and I want to put this little thing back on, and then put this on. And what I do, I'll melt everything down, and then I'm gonna add me some essential oils. I'll add some essential oil after I melt everything down. So these right here, this is the vitamin E oil. So let me put the top back on. I don't want too much to come out. So when I put the top back on, push it down, and then I go. What I did was 3 of each. 3 good size of each. Put that down like that. So I'll go melt these down and come back. But I have to probably put it in another bowl. Put it in another bowl and melt it down. Then I'll add the essential oil. Essential oils usually give you a lot of, So this is what it looked like once I put everything in. And so I'm going to go melt this down. Then I'm going to come back. Should have some music. Let me see. Let me put some music on in the background. While I'm going to melt this down. I'm going to melt this down. Let me put some music on. Melt this down and I'll come back. Let me see. Let me go with sometimes I don't, you have to be, I guess you have to, I guess they have certain artists on the list that you can use their music. So sometimes I don't, sometimes I use my own.
Smothered by now. You think your parents are gonna keep splitting the house in half? She's my best friend on God's green frickin' earth. When you're not around, I go through your underwear drawer and try on every pair.
Let me put my own music on, I guess. Take that off. So what I do, put my own music on. Let me see. Because I don't want to be flagged for using, I don't want to be flagged for using. Let me find my music. Let's see. I don't want to be flagged for using. Let's see. It's my son's music. It's my Instagram page. So that's my son's music. Let me see. So my son's music. I'm trying to don't want to get flagged for using nobody else's music because I know. Let me find. This my son's music too. This my Instagram. That's a young lady rapping on my son's music. His song. So let me see if I can find my I want to go milk this okay, I'm gonna let this play. I'm going to milk this down and I'll be right back. Alrighty. See, melted all down. It's melted all down. Okay, let's get the music back going. Hey, that's my Instagram. Those are my custom boxes that I have. But okay, so it's all melted down. Now I have to. It will go in a jar like this. I just make it a. Whoops, sorry. I'm just making one. I just fill in one jar, you know. So these are my essential oils. So I think I'm gonna add essential oil. Okay, I like some. This oil smells good. This is sweet orange. Sweet orange. Oh, let me put my my essential oil. Put some more gloves on. I took the other ones off. Sometimes I have to definitely remember, when I take them off, so I can. But sometimes they get so messy so quick. So I do take them off. And sometimes I have to take this oil. I mean, this I guess I would call it this recipe and put it in the fridge. And so essential oils, sweet oil, sweet orange. Just a few little drops of sweet orange, and I would only do 2. This is lemongrass. Looks like lemongrass. Let me see how it smells. I try some lemongrass. That's the one. So just a little drop. It should give you some smell. That should be it. I don't like to use too much. So that's lemongrass and sweet orange. And then just stir it up. And I let it cool off, and then I put it in the jar. It goes in this jar right here. And then probably put it in the refrigerator. See, I have my logo on my label. And these are nice jars I ordered from Amazon. And all these oils, vitamin E, Jamaican black castor oil, and all the oils I ordered from Amazon. All the jars I ordered from Amazon as well. And even the bowls from Amazon. Even the gloves I ordered Amazon. So everything I ordered from Amazon. So I have to let this cool a little bit, I guess. I'm going to put this to the side, let it cool a little bit, because I don't want to put it in the jar yet. Put it over here, let it cool a little bit, so sometimes it may start to solidify. I'll take the gloves off. And now I'm going to have to take these off. I'm going to have to take those off and put my regular glasses on. Reading glasses. So these are my reading glasses. So So, okay, let's get into it. And also I have the tablets that I have with my logo and stuff on them. So I'll be marketing these too. They I don't think I have these on my webpage, but I'll be probably marketing these later. So, just regular tablets, writing tablets. And so you look inside, regular writing tablets. So I'll leave the music off for a while because I want to be. So I'll be marketing these tablets, and also I have 4 books that I wrote. They are in the Google Play Store under ebooks. So this is the back of the book, and that's one, and this is the other one. That's the back of the book. Since we have autism and what the inside looks like. And then I have outside of this book, and then this is what the inside of it looks like. I wish the inside was color too. I wish I had gotten color, but they did the color for the, just for the back and the front. Cheryl Hubbard, the author. And so it's 4 books in the Google Play Store. Look for them in the Google Play Store on the ebooks. And they priced very reasonably, so, And also, you can just read a free copy. They have a free sample when you go to the Google Play Store on Android. I don't think they are in the Apple Store, so I think they just, in the Google Play Store on the ebooks. So when you go in the Google Play Store, look on the ebooks. So, and what I want to do now, I'm just going to read a little bit from, this is my law book right here. This one is business law. And I think I read a few items in this book from, on my previous video. So, let me see what I want to talk about. Okay, look, let's talk a little bit more about, okay, I talked about contracts. I talked about contracts on my last video. So I'm not using the blackboard right now. Okay, I want to start. It never fails. Every time I get ready to start reading, and then my nose gets stuffy. All the time. Okay, let's talk about contracts, okay? A contract is an agreement based on mutual promises between 2 or more competent parties to do or to refrain from doing some particular thing that is neither illegal nor impossible. So you enter into a contract, you agree, you make an agreement with somebody, because like I said, it could be 2 or more. You are enter into a contract. You agree to, say for instance, somebody say, hey, will you wash my car, paint my house, or something like that. Will you paint my house? And then it is you and 2 other people. You said 2 or more, so they say, hey, paint my house. You agree, that's mutual assent, because there's 6 elements to a contract. So if they say, hey, paint my car, paint my house, wash my car, and I'll pay you all a certain amount of money. So, you write it up. Most contracts should be in writing, $500 or more. And according to the statute of frauds, certain contracts must be in writing. So if they're $500 or more, they definitely have to be in writing. So according to the statute of frauds, certain contracts have to be in writing, like the sale of goods. You selling a car, you selling a house. Somebody, you purchase a house or a car or something like that. Then they definitely have to draw up a contract. Because I know when I purchased my car, my 2016 Corolla, they had it took so long for the paperwork to get done. So they ask you a lot of questions, and then at the end, they draw, from the questions that they ask and the answers that you give. That's how they draw up the contract. So contract probably was about good 30, 40 pages. So they draw up a contract, sell of goods. The car would be, I guess, a good that they're selling. You buy a house, that has to be in writing. You buy a car, you buy a house, it has to be in writing. So that's a contract. And the elements of a contract. A legally complete contract will arise between two parties when all 6 elements of a contract are present: offer, acceptance, mutual assent, capacity, consideration, and legality. If any of the 6 elements is missing, the transaction is not a legally complete contract. Offer. An offer is a proposal made by one party to another, indicating a willingness to enter into a contract. A person who makes an offer is called the offeror. The person to whom the offer is made is the offeree. Then we had the acceptance. So somebody make you an offer, say, hey, paint my house. Paint my house, I'll pay you $2,000, You accept it. So that's acceptance. Mutual assent. You both agreed on it. If a valid offer has been made by the offeror, and a valid acceptance has been made by the offeree, then the parties have agreed to the terms, and mutual assent exists between them. And then you have capacity, the 4th element necessary to make a contract complete. Capacity. Capacity is the legal ability to enter into a contractual relationship. The law has established a general presumption that anyone entering a contractual relationship has the legal capacity to do so. However, this presumption can be attacked. Minors are generally excused from contractual responsibility. Persons deprived of the mental ability to comprehend and understand contractual obligations, and people under the influence of alcohol or drugs may have the right to abandon their contracts. So they say, see Chapter 9. So in other words, you enter into a contract, and the person, you found out that you entered into a contract with a minor. You enter into a contract with a minor, so the minors can rescind those contracts. They can rescind their contracts. And like I said, minors, somebody that's not mentally capable of entering into a contract, somebody that's, a substance abuser, somebody that's not in their right mind. If you're not in your right mind, you don't have the capacity to enter into a contract. Because it says minors are generally excused. Persons deprived of the mental ability to comprehend. So in other words, how can you sign something and agree to a contract something that you don't even understand? Then we have consideration. The 5th element to any complete contract is the mutual exchange of benefits and sacrifices. So you enter into a contract, somebody say, I'll pay you $2,000, and there's something of value that's benefits and sacrifices. You paint my house, wash my car, I'll give you $2,000. You write it up, write it down, draw the contract up. So that $2,000 is that consideration. So you can't just say for a contract. I mean, some people do things free, but for a contract, I guess you got to have that something of value. You have to You have to have a benefit or sacrifice, unless you say, hey, I mean, I guess you could probably write up a contract, and if both of them agree, or you wash my car, paint my house, and I'll drive you to work 5 days a week. That could be a contract too. You wash my car, paint my house, and I drive you to work for a whole month. I drive you to work back and forth for a whole month. I mean, whatever the contract entails. And last one is legality. The final element of a binding contract is legality. Parties cannot be allowed to enforce a contract that involves doing something that is illegal. So you can't say, hey, go over there and rob that bank, I'll give you $20,000, and then draw it up in a contract. You can't do nothing like that. It can't be not legality. It can't be nothing illegal. And so let's see what we have next. We have all different types of contracts. We have a valid contract is one that is legally binding. A void contract is one that has no legal effect whatsoever. Voidable contract is one that may be avoided or canceled by one of the parties. We have an unenforceable contract is one that, because of some rule of law, cannot be upheld by a court of law. We have a unilateral contract, which is an agreement in which one party makes a promise to do something in return for an act of some sort. And then also we have an implied in law contract, can be imposed by a court when someone is unjustly enriched. It is used when a contract cannot be enforced or when there is no actual written, oral, or implied in fact agreement. Applying reasons of justice and fairness. A court may obligate one who has unfairly benefited at the innocent expense of another, so unjustly enriched. So then you have that's considered also the quasi contract. So let's see what we have. Let's see what other terms we have in here. We have executory contracts. A contract that has not yet been fully performed by the parties is called an executory contract. Such a contract may be completely executory, in which case nothing has been done. So you have a contract, and neither party have fulfilled their end of their part of the contract. That is executory. I don't know how they pronounce it, but or executory. So in other words, it hadn't been executed. So the root word will be executed. Execute. So, okay, next one we have, that's the end of that chapter. That was just so then these other chapters just give you a little more in-depth understanding of all the elements. Like we have a chapter for offer and acceptance. Offer and acceptance. So I'm going to bypass these chapters. Let me see what else. Mutual assent is another chapter. I'm at 50 minutes already. It hasn't started to solidify. Sometimes I might have to just put it in the fridge and let it solidify. So I'm trying to see what other terms I have in the back in the book that we can just read. I can just read. This is a good law book right here. Okay, let's talk about something we call eminent domain. All ownership of private property is subject to the government's superior rights if property is needed for purposes of public good. Eminent domain, also called condemnation, is the right of federal, state, or local governments or other public bodies to take private lands with compensation to their owners for public use. In other words, eminent domain, the government want to use your property to build a highway, or actually once you sell your property, they're going to have to compensate you. So eminent domain, the government can take ownership of your property, but they have to definitely pay you. Eminent domain. So let's talk about landlord and tenant. Landlord-tenant relationship is a contractual arrangement whereby the owner of real property allows another to have temporary possession and control of the premises in exchange for consideration. We just talked about consideration in previous chapter. Consideration is one of the 6 elements to a contract. So without all 6 elements to a contract, it is not a fully enforceable contract. So, and then we have a tenancy at will is an ownership interest in real property. So if you talking about dealing with the estate, it's an ownership interest in real property for an indefinite period of time. No writing is required to create this tenancy. Then we have one called tenancy for years. Is an ownership interest in real property for a definite or fixed period of time. Tenancy for years. You got the tenancy at will. So tenancy at will is no particular time frame. So in other words, the notice requirement to terminate a tenancy at will varies from state to state. It ranges from the time between rent periods to 30 days written notice from the next day the rent is due. So in other words, they won't, if you're renting the property, you won't be obligated. You won't be obligated to stay for a certain. You won't be obligated to stay for a certain amount of years. So it's a tenancy at will. But a tenancy for years is an ownership interest in a real property for a definite or fixed period of time. And then we have tenancy as sufferance arises when tenants wrongfully remain in possession of the premises after their tenancy has expired. So when your lease is up, it's time to go. It's time to go. Such a tenant is a wrongdoer having an estate or other interest in the property. A tenant as sufferance is not entitled to notice to vacate and is liable to pay rent for the period of occupancy. So if you stay over the time period that you're supposed to, move out, then you have to pay. So let me see what else. Okay, we have quiet enjoyment. Quiet enjoyment is the right of a tenant to the undisturbed possession of the property. This includes both the physical and legal rights of possession. The landlord may not interfere with the tenant's rights of possession as long as the tenant abides by the conditions of the lease and those imposed by law. So in other words, you rent an apartment, you rent a house, you have a right to quiet enjoyment, you have a right to enjoy the property, you pay the rent. Landlord can't come in there and disturb you. I mean, that's why they have to send notices out and say, hey, this is such and such, blah, 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 because I'm renting the property right now. So I'm renting the unit now, so they always send notices out, informing you about, different things. If they want you to do something or if something is going on the property, they send you notices. Or they're going to come through with inspections. They send notices about a week in advance or something like that. Quiet enjoyment. So, and also the neighbors can't be making a whole lot of noise and playing the music all loud, because you can report that too. But sometimes it's best if the neighbors, if they are making a lot of noise, or sometimes children make a lot of noise. And in other words, you live in an apartment and you have a family up above you, and they always make a lot of noise, stomping on the floor, playing music loud. But sometimes you can talk to your neighbor. Don't just run to the rental office and make a complaint. But sometimes you can just talk to them. And sometimes you can work things out. So that's where we can, we have to learn to get along and learn to, bend a little bit and give a person a chance. Say, hey, I did this once, I want to talk to you, can y'all tone it down? I'm trying to study or I'm trying to sleep. My husband not feeling well or something like that, whatever the case may be. And then sometimes people will work with you, but sometimes people, first thing they do is go run and jump and call the police or on their neighbor or call the rental office. I mean, sometimes, take a little time to say, hey, let me see if I can talk to my neighbor first and see if we can work something out. See if I can talk to my neighbor, see if we can work something out. So we don't have to, keep going to that. But that was that. Then let's see what we have. We have when people die, their property passes to their heirs. If they die leaving a will, their property will go to the individual's or institution's name. So somebody died leaving a will, the property or whatever they left will go to the people that they specified in their will. But if they died intestate without a will, then that's a different thing. See, a person who dies without a will is said to die intestate. In means not. What I learned in school, in and M means not. So intestate without a will, the giving away of one's property by will is known as testamentary disposition. Then you have a person who makes a will is called a testator. If a man or a testatrix, if a woman, or I guess a man is a test. They're gonna make a mistake in their printing. It says a testator is a man and a testatrix is a woman. Why they have to say that? A testatrix is a woman. But that term, you're thinking about a trick or something like that, but that's tricks. Trix. Okay, I think that would be it for this book right here. This book right here. I'll have to read some more stuff later. I don't want to go too far over. Okay. It talks about a whole lot of stuff. The bankruptcy and debt adjustment. Bankruptcy and debt adjustment. The book has a lot of good topics in here. I think that's it for this book. Let's see what I have. This is another book, Constitutional Law and the Criminal Justice System. So, we got searches incident to lawful arrest. Searches incident to lawful arrest. It says after a person has lawfully been taken into custody by a police officer, U.S. law recognizes the necessity of permitting a complete search. First, officer safety requires that any weapon on or near the defendant be located. Second, any evidence or other contraband should be recovered. Assume during this discussion that all arrests are legal. When an arrest is made, it is reasonable for the arresting officer to search the person arrested to move any weapons that the latter might seek to use to resist arrest or effect an escape. It is entirely reasonable for the arresting officer to search for and seize any evidence on the arrestee's person in order to prevent its concealment or destruction in the area from within which the arrestee might gain possession of a weapon or destructible evidence. Right, so in other words, if you get arrested, they have a right to search you. Yeah, because they're going to search you before they take you downtown. Make sure you don't have no weapons or no paraphernalia, drugs, or nothing like that on you. So, let's see what else I have. So we have search and arrest warrants. search and arrest warrants. Government agents who have probable cause to believe evidence of a crime is located at a specific place or that an individual is involved in a crime must go before a neutral and detached magistrate and swear under oath who or what they are looking for and where they think it can be found. So in other words, law enforcement, as it say, well, it say government agents who have probable cause to believe evidence of a crime is located at a specific place. So if they feel that government agents, if they feel, probably more likely, police officers, law enforcement, if they feel that evidence of a crime is at a particular place, then they go to the magistrate, talk to them, swear, like I said, swear on the oath that what they're saying is true, so they can get the magistrate to get him a search warrant. Issue, I guess I would say, issue a search warrant. So this book has a lot of nice items. So let me see from the beginning. What else do we have? I talked about the Constitution in my other legal system. I talked about that. Okay, let's talk about criminal law. Criminal law considers society the victim. Criminal law considers society the victim because whenever a crime is committed, the act disrupts the community. Although there is, of course, one or possibly more than one identifiable victim, if the security of the community is upset, all citizens are victims. It is the welfare of all society that has been violated. This is why the caption of a criminal case is the government representing the people versus the defendant. Such wrongs are called crimes, and criminal laws are found in the state's penal codes. If the matter is between two individuals, it's considered a civil case. So crimes against a crime against society is criminal. It comes under criminal law, and then cases between two or more individuals, would be a civil. So civil law is basically like, the remedies would be to, I guess, get a punish the defendant and make him pay like restitution or something like that. That comes under civil law. Pay restitution. In other words, they hit some assault and battery. You hit somebody in the face, and then sometimes they may have you pay restitution because you have to. It's a term I learned too called restorative justice. So basically, you want to restore the victim back to the state that they were in before you hit them. So if you hit somebody, it could be assault and battery, it could be criminal, it could be criminal, and it turns out to be civil. They can sue you. You hit me, and now I have to be on medication my whole life now because I have headaches. So then you also have to pay you might have to pay a fine. You might have to pay, like I said, restitution. You have to pay, So, let me see what else we have. We're at, okay. What are terms? I try to find some good terms. Okay, the First Amendment, basic freedoms. Introduction. Americans often know more constitutional law than they think. The media, despite criticisms about their reporting, present so much about the law that the general public has at least a feel for some basic legal tenets. Tenets, I guess that's tenets, not tenets, but tenets. This is certainly the case with the First Amendment, which most people, even children, know has to do with freedom of speech. That's the First Amendment, freedom of speech. A generation of Americans witnessed firsthand the influence free speech had during the Vietnam War, the civil rights movement, and elections across the country. If there is a downside, it may be that there is also a generation of Americans who take such freedom for granted because of its continued existence. Being able to speak out, particularly against the government, remains a cornerstone of freedom in the United States. What free speech is there? What free speech is there if not in opposition to those in power? No greater right do we have in this country than no greater right we have in this country than that of speaking our minds and being able to hear from others. But even this right is not absolute. The First Amendment prohibits Congress from making any laws that restrict freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom of the press, or the right to gather or assemble peaceably and to request the government to respond to complaints from the citizens. So, freedom of religion. Freedom of religion. Freedom of religion is the first right set forth in the Bill of Rights. The first 10 amendments to the Constitution are the Bill of Rights. The colonists who fled religious persecution cherished their right to worship as they saw fit in their new country. Because religions differ from colony to colony, with Episcopalians predominating in one area, Presbyterians in another, and Congregationalists and Quakers and others. Still, the Founding Fathers wanted to guarantee every individual religious freedom. So sometimes you gotta review some of this stuff again. I used to love some of the stuff I learned in my history class too as well. Let's see what we have. What else do we have? Okay, and since we're talking about First Amendment freedom of speech, this way they have Eminem. They have Eminem on there performing, and sometimes the words of these rappers, and also I took a course. I think it was was it Capella? No, I don't know if it was Capella. It was Capella or even Walden University. And they asked the question, do we own our own words? Of course we do. That's why when you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you have to definitely watch what you say. Watch what you say because you own your own words and you don't want to say. That's why a lot of times people get in trouble for what they say. You get in trouble for what they say. See, they get in trouble for what they say. Rapper Eminem performs at the 45th Annual Grammy Awards at Madison Square Garden. Although his lyrics are known for being full of obscenities and violence, his language is protected by the First Amendment right to freedom of speech. There you go. First Amendment right to freedom of speech. So you can say what you want to say, but you can't offend. You can't. I mean, you can offend somebody, but you can't. I guess I would say you can't. You can't threaten nobody. So you can freedom of speech, but freedom of speech is good, but you can't threaten nobody just because you have freedom of speech. You can't just say anything you want to say. So put it that way. So in other words, they're saying you have freedom of speech, and they're telling you that you have freedom of speech. You can say what you want to say, but you really can't. You can, but you can't threaten nobody because that's a crime. So you threaten somebody with your free speech, you still can, that won't be right. And then people burn the flag, they burn the flag. So that is they say that is an expression, that is your First Amendment right. But I don't really understand that one. But it says flag burning. One Supreme Court case involving it's a symbolic expression, demonstrates the centrality of such issues and the danger in assuming easy answers to First Amendment dilemmas. In this case, the O'Brien test was not used. This case began during the 1984 Republican National Convention in Dallas, when Gregory Johnson, a demonstrator in the Republican War chess tour, protesting the policies of the Reagan administration. He was protesting the policies of the Reagan administration in certain Dallas-based corporations, unfurled an American flag in front of City Hall, doused it with kerosene, and set it on fire. While the flag burned, the protesters chanted, "America the red, white, and blue, we spit on you." Johnson was subsequently convicted of violating the Texas law prohibiting the disgrace or desecration of venerated objects, including the national flag. However, the Supreme Court ruled, if there is a bedrock principle underlying the First Amendment, it is that the government may not prohibit the expression of an idea simply because society finds the idea itself offensive or disagreeable. Justice Brennan contended that nothing in the court's precedents suggests that the state may foster its own view of the flag by prohibiting expressive conduct relative to it. Justice Kennedy concurred, stating, "The ruling was simply a pure command of the Constitution. It is poignant and fundamental. It is poignant and fundamental that the flag perplexes those who hold it in contempt." And it says type of verbal, right? Because you do have freedom of speech, First Amendment, but then you also have something they got over here called fighting words, insulting or abusive language, obscenity, communication that taken as a whole appeals to the prurient interest in other things, inciting or urging unlawful conduct, obstruction of a law enforcement officer or of justice, defamation, libel and slander, abusive, obscene, or harassing telephone calls, loud speech and loud noise. Let's see what we have. Yeah, 1 minute and 14. So I'm gonna wrap this up shortly. Let's see what else I got back here. I talked about this in my other video. The knock and announce rule. Officers can break a door or window or break a car window to make an arrest if necessary, but the general rule is that law enforcement officers must first knock and announce their authority and purpose before breaking into a dwelling. This is referred to as the knock and announce rule. The intent of this rule is to prevent the occupants from responding with force because they do not know who the intruders are. Depending on the totality of the circumstances and the court having jurisdiction, a violation of the knock and announce rule may make the entry by police unlawful, thus invalidating the search and rendering any evidence found inadmissible as stipulated by the exclusionary rule. The knock and announce rule not only protects citizens' rights, it can also enhance officer safety in executing a warrant. Okay, let me move on to the use of deadly force. Use of deadly force is restricted to cases of self-defense or public safety. It's restricted to cases of self-defense or public safety. I don't understand that statement. Use of deadly force is restricted. Also, in other words, it's restricted. I guess self-defense they can when you claim self-defense. I don't know. It says the use of deadly force is restricted to cases of self-defense or public safety. In the past, this was not the case. Oh, okay, it's different now. The fleeing felon rule allowed police officers to shoot to kill any felon who fled to escape arrest. This is no longer true. In Tennessee versus Garner, 1985, the court ruled that law enforcement officers cannot shoot fleeing felons unless they present an imminent danger to life. So if they fleeing and they still present an imminent danger to life, then that's when officers can still shoot. So even if they fleeing, but they present they present a imminent danger to the officer's life, I guess, that's when they still can shoot. It says the use of deadly force to prevent the escape of any felony suspects, of all felony suspects, whatever the circumstances, is constitutionally unreasonable. It is not better that all felony suspects die than that they escape. Where the suspect poses no imminent threat to the officer and no threat to others, the harm resulting from failing to apprehend him does not justify the use of deadly force to do so. Immunity from arrest. Okay, let me see. I think I'm going to stop right here. I don't want to go over too much. I need to make me some hot tea and some lemon. I talked about the Miranda warning too. Miranda took the unique step of actually directing police officers to tell individuals they had in custody before questioning them 4 specific warnings. You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to talk to a lawyer and now have him present now or at any time during questioning. If you cannot afford a lawyer, one will be appointed for you without cost. When the Miranda warning must be given, circumstances surrounding an interrogation and whether the situation requires a Miranda warning were expanded in Oregon versus Mathiason, 1977. Sometimes you read up on these cases. Oregon versus, I need to read some myself. Oregon versus Mathiason, 1977. Then we have another case, Duckworth versus Egan, 1989. This case held that the Miranda warning does not need to be given verbatim, word for word. It's stated in Miranda versus Arizona. What is required is that suspects' rights as set forth in the Miranda case are clearly conveyed. So sometimes you can, read some of these cases. I'm going to make me some tea. Okay, I talked about entrapment, I think I did yesterday too. When the government officials induce a person to commit a crime. So in other words, you would not have ordinarily committed that crime, but you was forced into that crime. So that's entrapment. So if you're a law-abiding citizen, and you would not have, in other words, you're not a drug dealer, you're not a drug seller, but they entrapped you into selling some drugs or whatever the case may be. So entrapment is discussed here because while it can be included in any chapter concerning people's rights, the concept of government going too far is what the study of entrapment is about. Entrapment, like the Miranda rule, is subject to the public is a subject the public believes it is well versed on because of a heavy diet of television police shows. Entrapment is an act of government officials or agents influencing a person to commit a crime that the person likely would not have otherwise committed. That's what I just said. If you would not have otherwise committed it and they tricked you in there. And then we got a grand jury, citizens who determine whether sufficient evidence exists to send an accused on the trial. Indictment, a formal accusation of a defendant by a grand jury. Double jeopardy. The government cannot try someone twice for the same crime. Just compensation, fair market value paid for property when the government takes the property. So that still probably come under eminent domain. So fair market value paid for property when the government takes the property. So the government takes the property, they have to pay you the fair market value. Eminent domain. I think I'm going to close out here because I don't want to make the video too long because they will shut me down. So this is, I want to put back on my eye protective glasses. And what I just want to do is throw my gloves back on, you know. I took while I was reading, I didn't, you know. Let me put some more hand sanitizer on. Just a little bit while I was reading. So I just want to pour that in a jar, you know. I just want to get ready to set the video. But thanks for joining me. Glad you could be here. Glad to see you. Glad you could join me. And I just went over a few little. So like I said, this is a jar. And already cleaned out and everything. So, you know. It's slowly solidifying. What I might have to do is just put it in the refrigerator. So like I said, it's already melted down. Already melted down. Hold up. That way you can see me pour it on in there. So I'll pour it in there. Stop it right there. And I still got a little bit left, so I'm going to have to put that in another jar. And so you have this right here. You can also put that on. And then what I do, so I'll put this in the refrigerator. And there you have it. Put it in the refrigerator so it can solidify. So I'll put that in the refrigerator. And I think I have. I think I have another little jar. This is not the one. That's not the one. This is not the one. Let me see. Here's another one. It's another one, body butter. So a lot of these jars already had, you know, already had the labels and everything on. So it's just a little bit left. So it's starting to solidify slowly, but you know. Okay. So this is my body butter. So these two right here, I'll put these in the fridge and let them solidify. Okay. I'm looking like a, you know, looking like a scientist. So I want to say thanks for joining me. Glad you can be here. Glad to see you. Hope you come back. You know, comment below. Subscribe below. Comment below. And see, I have my little balloons. I have my little balloons in the background. So, you know, comment below. Subscribe below. And like I said, you know, I have already purchased my little ring lights and everything. I have two of them. I have this one, that one, and then this one right here. I have right here. I put my cell phone here. I put my cell phone. So like I said, you know, I put my cell phone on this one. What I do, I usually put it up like this. And see, put your cell phone on that one. want to say thanks for joining me. And, you know, glad to see you. Glad you could join me. And I want to say thanks for joining me. And I'll see you on my next video. So, like I said, comment below, subscribe below, and I'll put my Venmo information. So, you know, I do accept donations. So, you know, trying to keep my channel going. So, I accept donations. So, I'll put my Venmo information down below. And I do have Cash App as well. So, thanks for joining in. Glad to see you. Glad you could be here. Hope to see you again. So, you got any ideas or anything you need me to talk about, you know, just let me know. So, I want to close out this video, and I want to say you have a nice day, and I'll see you on my next video. So, you have a good one.